So before we get to your TV aspect, when you were doing radio, talk to me about how that transitioned. I mean, how do you go from being, to just starting a radio show to say, did somebody just say, hey, okay, you got a perfect face for TV? Or how did that work?
I don't think anyone said that. but even back then it was like, you couldn't, you had to kind of pass, cut the muster with certain looks, I guess. But I took a drama class and I had a great time in that. And then we kind of were on camera for that. So that's really how it developed. Nobody, really discovered me.
Right.
And that was when I was still in college. But then I got that internship at the TV station and I started reading fake scripts, just to get a reel put together. But then I liked it. So I wanted to pursue TV way more than radio.
Yeah, it seemed like a natural fit. I mean, you did the 9 for years, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But you mentioned a moment ago, in 1989, you got hired as an on-air meteorologist at the Weather Channel. How did that opportunity present itself?
I had a friend who was doing the weather in Flagstaff, and he said, would you like to think about going to the Weather Channel to work? And I was like, no, that's a national station. I've never lived in a different state. And I use magnets on metal mats. How do you think I'm going to do a technical weathercast with knobs and buttons? But he left. He went to the Weather Channel, and then he got me in. And I interviewed, and I thought, there's no way I'm getting this job. And next thing I know, I'm on my way to Atlanta. And that was the first time I went across country. And then I stayed there for about a couple of years. So as they called us on-camera meteorologists, we didn't have degrees.
Right.
Some of us, a lot of them, I think it's required now. But that was a really fun gig. I got to live in, a great city, and it was fun, but everybody was always trying to get out. So it really was kind of a short stint. And I just happened to apply for a weekend weather position, weekday reporter position here. And lo and behold, the news director gave me a job.
Well, I don't want to embarrass you, Kam, but doing research for this podcast, I came across a clip of you giving a national weather forecast. So go ahead and sit through this, if you will. Take a listen.
Let's check on the maps and roll them on into motion, beginning with Sunday morning. Still seeing some rain in store for northern Arizona, back up into the Great Basin. Two things here. We've got the remnants from what once was Hurricane Boris. That's still coming up from the south, plus a front is dropping on in from the west, and that's going to be scattering some showers into the Great Basin. And for once, we're looking at a pretty healthy rainfall amount for Southern California over into Arizona. You may get doused with about 3 inches of rain, so that could cause
great adjective right
problems
there.
Here. Across the Southland, a little bit of rain, a little bit of instability in the afternoon, especially as the heating kicks into gear, so the thunderstorms could be in the cards for you again as that front sags southward.
I have to say, as much as I love that clip, because we got to delve into that clip, you're so calm, cool, and collected. But what I remembered watching it, because we're obviously an audio here, but I remembered because it used to drive me crazy back then, because that was from 1990, I believe. But it used to drive me crazy when you guys, whoever was doing the weather report, it would cut you off and then go to a blue screen with your local forecast. I was like, "What's the deal? She's in the middle of a sentence. What was that about?"
We had 5 lights, red lights, and they would count down to when you were supposed to wrap it up. So we'd start to see the lights and we'd finish, and then sure enough, we'd still get cut off. But we didn't know it in the studio until you went back to an air check. And for some reason, that never got fixed.
Well, this one, if you, and I'll put a link in the description, much to Kam's chagrin, but you will see Kam Carman with brown hair and big shoulder pads of the time. I love the shoulder pads you ladies wear. Yes.
And I think I weighed about 90 pounds.